for the most part, I'm always kicking guys in the ass. You know what I mean? And really trying to fire you up, get you off your asses, finishing songs, doing your work. And I completely back that up. A lot of times you just got to sit down and do the work, right? But, there's another subject that we don't really talk about with creative people. And we've been taking some pretty hard hits lately in the creative industry. A lot of suicides. There's been a couple that have recently been fairly close to me, kind of a friend of a friend. There was a very popular DJ back in the day who he was nominated for a couple Grammys. I mean, he's done a lot of great stuff, remixed, people that we would love to have been able to remix and that sort of thing. So kind of, a lot of these people have the life that we want, whether they're in a rock band or DJs or what have you. This guy happened to be a music producer. And because of that, I really wanted to give this some thought, because I don't want to kind of gloss over the idea that creative people in general tend to be more prone for oversensitivity to the world, to depression, to anxiety, just the fear alone that you're not good enough sort of thing, And if you're feeling these things, I mean, I just want to let you know you're completely not alone. Welcome to the club. You will find as you interact with more and more creative people that this is pretty common, and we all kind of go through this, and we all try to help each other out with it, I think, but unfortunately, for the most part, we don't talk about it too much. Now, I won't go into too much history for myself, but I went through 10 pretty solid years of really massive anxiety, kind of not getting out of bed anxiety, sleeping 16 hours a day, having your closest friends think that you're just a weak person, all that sort of stuff. Oh, crap. Looks like the camera's locking up. I want to really acknowledge people who might not have that energy, right? That might not have the gusto to really move themselves forward creatively, or at least they don't feel like they have it. They're going through a moment, Sometimes these moments can drag out quite a while. Like I said, I went through about 10 years of pretty serious anxiety, to the point that I'd be DJing and start hallucinating and things like that. It was really an uncomfortable thing. And when I stopped having the panic part of it, I started going through major body pains. I felt like I'd been punched everywhere in my body. I couldn't lift more than 20 pounds, or if I did, it would damage my body so much that it would take me, up to like 3 months to heal. So, I mean, I've been in pretty bad shape before. So I want to acknowledge any of you guys who are going through this and kind of try to give you guys some tips on what helped me when I was going through. And I also want to, by the way, even though I've written down some notes, this is kind of off the cuff. I didn't really even feel comfortable going live because it's kind of a weird subject, not super exciting, not super fun, but something that might actually be more helpful for a couple people than anything else that I've ever done. So I just wanted to take the time to go through this. So here's some things that really help me when I'm going through feeling depressed or feeling anxiety. So I'll just kind of go through the list here. The first thing that actually really helps me is understanding that a lot of times your outside world reflects what's going on inside. So since it's more difficult to fix what's going on inside of you, what I try to do is try to fix what's going on the outside. So I try to clean and organize as much as possible. If I've got things scattered all around or things are unorganized, it really makes me feel a lot better mentally to clear my space and find places for everything, and throw shit away that needs to be thrown away, and just organizing my environment. It helps my brain think more clearly, and I think that would be incredibly helpful for you guys. And I know some of you guys are coming in and going, this topic might be interesting for some of you, some people it's not interesting. That's totally fine. This is for the people that it's going to help. And I'm not going to try to make this more exciting to, draw you guys in or whatever. That's really not my goal here. The second thing that was incredibly helpful for me is starting to do, I don't want to call it a daily journal, but essentially writing 2 full pages in like this size of a notebook, right? Small writing all the way through both pages, all right? And there's no rules to it. Essentially, It's what I like to call a brain dump. And you just write anything that's on your mind, and you keep writing. And when you don't have anything else that you think you have to write, then write, I don't think I have anything else to write, and keep on writing and keep going and keep going. And all this shit will start kind of coming out of you. And I recommend that you try doing this every day. And it can really, really help adjust your mental state. What you're going to find typically is that you spend maybe the first week, maybe even the first 2 weeks, just kind of complaining. Just kind of, I don't want to call it complaining, but you know what I mean. Writing out all the bullshit that's in your life, the things that you're not happy with. But what's going to happen is at some point you're going to turn a corner. And because you've gotten these thoughts outside of you, you're almost going to get bored of writing about the same thing. Like you're just going to be kind of over it. And that's a really good point to be, because that's the point where you start thinking, well, if I've got to do this writing, I might as well do something that's a little more inspiring. I've already got all the complaining part out. So let's start, working on just what I'm thinking and my ideas, and maybe trying to remember my dreams, and talking about my goals and what I'm going to do and what I appreciate and all these other things. Once again, there's no rule. If you want to complain the whole time, you absolutely can, and it will be incredibly helpful. I just have a feeling that it will help you turn a corner if you do start trying to use some of that time for a little bit of positivity as well. The third most powerful thing for me has been meditation. It doesn't have to be anything too complex. It can be sitting in a chair like this, closing your eyes, and just focusing on your breathing and trying to breathe really slowly. And what helps a lot of time from the scattered brain going on, is to every out breath you count a number, 1 through 10. So you move your way all the way up to 10, and after you reach 10, you go back to 1. And if you forget what number you're on, that's not a bad thing. Just pick a number and keep on moving. And it's just to keep your mind focused on one thing instead of all the other scattered thoughts. And what you may notice with that is that you'll experience witnessing yourself thinking. So you'll kind of witness that there's a person behind the person that's doing all the thinking. And that's a powerful place to be, because that's kind of like recognizing the silence that all sound sits on. The next thing that I would recommend is we always need something to inspire us. And sometimes we feel like that's not available to us. What I like to do is kind of like meditation. It's kind of like this closed eye sort of thing. You could lay on your bed if you want. Meditation is normally kind of a sit up sort of thing. But visualization, you could lay on your bed, just try not to fall asleep. And here's a really good tip, okay? So a lot of you guys have considered visualization. I do a visualization a little bit differently. I learned this from someone, I forget who it is, or at least I forget his name right now. And what he suggested is that first you kind of get this visualization of how you would like things to be, right? And you're not worried about how you're going to do it at all. Do not worry about that. Just bask yourself in the idea of what the experience would be like. And then what you do is you take it from your future and you put it, I know I'm moving in reverse because the camera's doing some weird things. So you take it from your future and you move it to your past. And what that does is it makes the brain feel like you've already done it, like you've already accomplished it. And then what I'll do is I'll go back and forth between experiencing the future I want and then go and switch it to an experience that I've already actually accomplished, so that I can try to tune myself to feeling the same way about both, to feeling the same way about the thing that hasn't happened as I do about the thing that has happened. And that really can help get your brain in a more inspired state, okay? Watch something inspiring. If you just don't feel like you can be active, try to watch something that's at least inspiring. Don't listen to depressing music, and don't watch things that bum you out. And yeah, music can be meditation for sure. But you want something that inspires you. Because if you're going through some sort of sadness, you don't want to intensify that sadness. It's not bad to do that for a short period of time if you need to kind of get that emotion out, and that's the best way to do it. But I would try to, watch more comedies instead of dramas and things like that. The next thing, if you just can't be bothered by anything, take a nap. Just sleep. Sleep is a really good way to reset yourself. The only thing that the only tip that I would give you about sleeping is to try to set an intention about the way you want to feel when you wake up. Because typically what will happen is you'll get this break from life while you nap, but your brain will carry on from what it did with the last thought it had before the nap. So it's a good idea to kind of set your brain for how you want to feel after you sleep, and that can put you in a better mood. Taking a walk and just appreciating the abundance of air and the sun, if you have the sun, or anything that is around you that you can appreciate. Taking a walk, getting some fresh air can really, really help. I find it really, really helpful to get out of your space and walk for, maybe 15 minutes at least, 10 if that's all that you can do. The next thing, a couple things, drink a lot of water. Water really helps the brain work better and the whole body work better, helps you feel a lot better. So if you're not doing it already, try to drink about a gallon of water a day. I don't do a whole lot of exercise. I've gone through periods where I've done some exercise, but I would consider some sort of light exercise or stretching, do like an easy yoga pose or some sort of thing. That can really help. And although I don't encourage you to go and drink away your sorrows, it's not a terrible idea to go and socialize. And sometimes that happens with a drink. I just recommend you don't overdo it, and make that kind of a crutch that you have. But socializing is really the main thing. And if you could socialize outside of a drinking environment, that's even better. Or invite some people over, or go over to someone else's house to get out of your environment. All those things will really help with it'll just help with kind of recharge you. And then the last thing I recommend is if you're really having if you've been going through this for a long time and there doesn't seem like a solution, you may really benefit from medication. It's something that I tried to avoid for 10 years, and I tried everything, changing my diet, and I did a number of things, and they all really helped. But when I'm honest, a little bit of medication, the right kind. I tried 3 different medications, and they all failed. And finally, the 4th time, I got really lucky that it worked for me. And I'm still on a real low dosage, because I try to do all the other things so that I don't need as much medication. But it does make a difference to some people. Sometimes there's just a chemical imbalance. And these chemical imbalances are things that kind of, draw us towards being creative people, That's why you realize a lot of these people that you think should be really happy with their lives, they came into this kind of as train wrecks, you know what I mean? They came into this as, with a lot of emotional baggage. And getting more money, getting more fame, getting more notoriety, all that does is kind of enhance a lot of that anxiety, So those are kind of some things that I just thought might help some of you who are going through some sort of emotional pain, depression, anxiety, or just feeling like you're not good enough. You are good enough. Everyone thinks they're not good enough. Everyone thinks they're getting away with something. Every creative person feels that they are cheating a little bit, right? So don't think you're the only one. And don't think that when I kick your ass, I don't care about you guys. And I'm thinking that anyone that can't kick ass right now is weak, because that's not the case. I give a shit about all of you, and I believe that you can do this. But if you're going through something tough, these are some things that I hope can help you guys. So that's all I have. I know this one was a little bit of a downer, but it's just something I think needs to be said. And I'm happy to be very honest about what I've gone through. If any of you guys are interested in kind of my journey, I'd be happy to share with you guys, any of you guys. If you're going through something, I'd be happy to help if I can. And with that said, I will leave this with you guys, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Take care.